Have you ever thought, hey, it might be really nice if someone just sent me free money? Well, you could be eligible for one of the largest crypto airdrops to date. I'm Brett at CryptoGX, and in this video, I'm going to be going over the MetaMask airdrop. This is one of the most hyped up airdrops of all time, and we're going to get into what it is, what's going on, what's the actual information about it, how you could potentially get some of these free coins. So this is MetaMask. So if you've ever seen this box, you're familiar with MetaMask. It is one of the largest hot wallets or online wallets for crypto. It started with Ethereum, but they've expanded, and now they're actually launching their own coin called Mask. Now, MetaMask touts itself as the everything wallet. There's tons of different cryptocurrencies that are available on it nowadays. Now, on their actual site, it only says millions of users worldwide. If we go back to their Google site, it shows over 100+ million users, which is just massive in the world of crypto. Now, why has MetaMask not had a token before? They are touting themselves as the home in Web3, but why not? Why haven't they had a coin this long? I mean, pretty much everybody knows about it in crypto. Well, the main thing is that the SEC had a lawsuit against them in 2024, which actually halted their issuance of a coin. Now, luckily, this case has been dropped, so they have a green light for launch. Now, the purpose of a Mask token is really important. For MetaMask specifically, it is to decentralize their governance. Now, if you look at something like this 101blockchains.com DAO governance explainer here, one of the main things that they mention, which obviously is a core principle, is essentially considered the foundation of cryptocurrencies and blockchain. Now, if you look at this 101 blockchains article right here on the DAO governance model, it's basically how they organize the structure of a particular organization without having a body of representatives. So with a company, you have a board of representatives. Now for DAOs, they are basically aimed at being completely transparent, and they can make decisions from the bottom up. So meaning anybody with shares can make decisions or help to vote on decisions for the company. Basically, this means that if you are a coin holder, token holder, just like a shareholder of a company, but in this case, you're going to have much more of a effectual change in what goes on. Your vote actually matters because it is decentralized. There's no making decisions other than your DAO vote. And DAO votes are defined by ownership in a token. So with MetaMask and their token, when is it actually coming? So people are saying it's actually sooner than you might think. Joe Lubin, the CEO of Consensus, obviously that's the creator of MetaMask, they hinted at the MetaMask token launching imminently and could be sooner than expected, but they didn't really say anything specific as to how long we're going to be waiting for this. The best guess we can see right now is that it may come sooner than you would expect, and it is significantly related to the decentralization of certain aspects of the MetaMask platform, which obviously, based on the whole DAO thing that I was explaining, decentralization is good for the people. So how are you going to actually boost your odds of getting into this airdrop? Well, there are a few ways to do this, and I've talked about airdrops before, so I recommend you subscribing so you can get all these pieces of information much sooner. But MetaMask is a platform just like any other. So if I click Get MetaMask here, you can add it to Chrome, and then it will be part of your Chrome extensions here. But you're going to want to use the platform. So use it often. Buy, sell, and swap all sorts of tokens. This is kind of what the platform looks like here. You should hold LNA or MUSD. Those are the coins related to MetaMask. MUSD is the MetaMask specific stable coin. The LNA coin is kind of built in conjunction to work with MetaMask, and it's just its own layer 2 token. So that's another reason why you should include that into your play here. But when you use those and you use the platform, that's typically what is going to incentivize or increase your incentives from this platform and from their actual airdrop. I mentioned it before, like I said, when you're going to get an airdrop, you won't know beforehand what is going to make you eligible, but in almost every case, it's interacting somehow with their platform and making some sort of transactions. Now, the other thing they have is something called MetaMask missions. And if we go right here, MetaMask missions step-by-step guide on usethebitcoin.com. They have these every once in a while, and they're basically campaigns designed to help users earn by completing on-chain tasks. This one was July 21st to August 8th. So if they have more MetaMask missions, you should definitely take part in those. Those are other ways that you can earn, potential crypto from, but they also increase your chances for this particular airdrop as well. So now that we know roughly what to do when it comes to MetaMask and getting included, interacting as much as possible, possible, making transactions, buying and selling on their platform, swapping on their platform, bridging on their platform, sending all sorts of things, interacting with decentralized apps using their platform. It is a wallet after all, so you can hold coins there and then interact with any sort of platform that you want through that. Now that we have that kind of down as to how to get included and how to be eligible, let's talk about what the possible airdrop size is. So if we look into past airdrops and the size that they typically were, you can see that Uniswap had the largest ever, where it distributed $6.43 billion worth of Unicoin back in 2020. That is a massive, massive airdrop. Now, this was a huge, huge thing, and it was probably not the most common. Let's go here on Binance. You can actually see a better view of this. Uniswap had about $6.4 billion here. ApeCoin had $3.5 billion, and so on and so forth. If we just eyeballed it and took right in the middle here, that'd be like right around 1.8. That's not an effective way to do an average, but just for example. Now, the Uniswap one was in 2020. In 2023, there was one that was 1.9, and then it was much lower for these other ones, 728. The thing that I would like to consider when it comes to this is that, here's a nice list. When it comes to these airdrops, they're going to change based on the valuation of the entire company, most likely, and how much is able to be airdropped. So Uniswap was a massively, massively popular company and platform, and ApeCoin obviously is part of a massively popular NFT project. Arbitrum's huge. DYDX, I've got to be honest, I'm not familiar with. Ethereum name service is huge. I would say that MetaMask is definitely in this kind of top 10 area here. So if we're looking for minimum and maximum ranges, I would say this 10th spot, $670 million, is the lowest we could expect, and then $6.4 billion is the absolute highest we could expect. I would probably tap out the top most likely at about $2 billion. So I would think that it could rival somewhere in the top 5 here, somewhere in the $1.5 to $2 billion range. Next, let's find out what happens to the price of these tokens after the airdrop happens. So if we just look at Uniswap as an example, the beginning of when their token launched and the airdrop occurred, the price was roughly at $3 to $5 a piece. Very shortly after that, as you can see right here, and this was in the middle of a bull run, or actually very close to the end of a bull run as well. As you can see, it went all the way up to about $41, effectively going 10x from where it was roughly at the time of the airdrop itself. Now, if we do the same thing for ApeCoin, go all time, right at the beginning of when they launched and dropped their airdrop, they were about $8.50. They went up to about 23, which is roughly a 3x gain. They did not perform too well after that, but in short order from March of 2022 to the end of April of 2022, about a month and a half, it did a 3x. And Uniswap was about a 3-month. Let's go back and see. Uniswap from launch was September 18th and to peak was 4/30. So that was almost like 6 or 7 months for Uniswap to go to that peak there. But, different times. Uniswap was nearing the end of a bull run and the ApeCoin was not. It was on a bear market. So, they're going to be affected differently. Right now, we're nearing the end of a bull run, so it could go on the, better end of the scale. So the last thing to mention here is the market impact. I think that with this launch, there is going to be a huge influx of money. Obviously, the free money is going to cause a huge retail hype. Tons of people are going to be searching Mask Coin, and it is going to rise, just like we saw with Uniswap, just like we saw with ApeCoin and other coins when they have an airdrop like this. So it is going to be a short-term gainer over at least a couple weeks, if not a couple months or more, depending on how the bull cycle goes. So this is a great opportunity for lots of people here. And if you want to know more and keep up to date with this, I definitely recommend you subscribe to the channel, because I will be updating with any sort of information and things like that as it comes to when the actual announcement comes out. So what does this all mean? Let's boil this down to some simple points here and what you can do now. So the MetaMask airdrop could be one of the biggest free crypto events ever, possibly sparking some huge FOMO in the kind of retail crypto space. I recommend you use MetaMask weekly, use swaps, bridges, staking, hold some Ethereum in your MetaMask account for gas fees while you're using this, but also when you get the airdrop. Interact with LNA coin, which is Linea, as well as MUSD. Just avoid spam and focus on genuine use, genuine websites, and be careful because it is a hot wallet. We've got videos on the channel about hot wallets versus cold wallets and things like that. But follow the MetaMask social accounts as well. Just go to metamask.io, make sure it's the correct site. Just search it on Google, make sure you're using the correct web page, and then you can scroll down and find their actual socials here on the bottom. They'll definitely make announcements as well, so you can be even more up to date. But honestly, honestly, if you're watching this video, you are already halfway to getting a bunch of free money. So stay active and keep watching, and you can be included in this airdrop. If you want to get some crypto to use on MetaMask, I'll leave links to Coinbase and crypto.com where you'll get at least $50 in free crypto just for signing up with those links. And if you want some free meme coins, I'll leave a link to MoonShot in the description where you can claim some free meme coins just for signing up. If you like this video, make sure to drop a like to help others find it, and make sure to subscribe to stay tuned for all things crypto. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.